This is a piece of tool steel. We're going to do a letter Q. We'll mark it at 200 millimeters per second, 90% power, and 20 kilohertz frequency. I'm going to do 3 different hatches. One's going to be at 45 degrees, the next is going to be at 90 degrees, and the final one will be at 315 degrees. And we're going to mark for depth, so this is going to go for a while. Light it to see what it looks like. Let's put it right there. And let's go. Alright, it's been about a minute. Let's stop that. So 200 millimeters per second, 90% power, and 20 kilohertz frequency. That's about 2 minutes. And so we'll take that down to the indicator and see if there's any difference in depth. I want to change this to lower power, let's say 50% power, much higher frequency, let's say 35, and speed of 1000. And we'll do the same Q if we can fit it. I'd like to do it on the same area. Well, that's not great. Let's just shrink it a little bit. There we go. And I want this to be kind of a non-destructive mark, just enough to make it appear sort of like you would see on an end mill or a crimp tool or something like that. So this won't be continuous. I'm only going to do this one time, and there is going to be a hatch to it. In fact, I think I'll turn the power down to 30% just to see what that looks like. Let's do it. I should have turned off the outline, but it's kind of an interesting look. I want to do one more without the outline. Okay, let's put it right there. It's kind of a neat look if you don't want it to be too extreme. Alright, let's run this indicator across the Q and see how deep we actually got. Sort of set that near 0. So we initially have a little bit of a ridge right there at the edge of the Q, and once we get in there, we're down about, what, 1/1000th and a half, something like that, back to the ridge where it goes up about 2 thousandths, 3 thousandths. And then we're pretty close to 2.5 thousandths, then back to about 0. So I'd say that depth at 1 minute marking, 200 millimeters per second, 90% power, 20 kilohertz frequency, and this is some kind of tool steel. I can't remember if it's A2 or S7. And this is a 20 watt laser, 150 by 150 millimeter marking area. That is about 1.5 thou deep. Now doing the same thing, but coming over here And this was what? Double the time. This is 2 minutes, right? But the exact same settings. Let's just set that to 0 for the sake of simplicity. Pretty close. So we're down 1, 2, 2.5 thou. Just above 0, just below 2.5 thou. So that's pretty good depth. And what did our little non-destructive mark do? Almost nothing. It's slightly, it's slightly raised, but almost nothing. Okay, let's do one more. Let's put a tiny Q inside the Q we just made and see if we can get deep. I don't know if we'll be able to measure that. Well, let's do that and then let's just do a circle in the other Q. So I'm going to slow this down to 100 millimeters per second. And it's going to be 90% power again and 20 kilohertz frequency. And we'll keep our same 3 hatches as before. Show up right there. Stop. Mark. Okay, that's about a minute. Well, it's definitely got a burn mark around it. Looks deep. Now I'm just going to do a circle over here in the other Q, about the same size. That way we can actually get the indicator tip in there. Okay, same power settings, same speed settings, same 3 hashes. And since this is in the 2-minute Q, let's do it in the 2-minute Q. Remember, the only difference is that this is 100 millimeters per second as opposed to 200 that we did previously. That's about 2 minutes. I think that's big enough to get the indicator tip in there. We'll find out. All right, back to our surface plate. Let's run the indicator over the little Q, and this is the same settings as the big Q, except it's going half speed, so 100 millimeters per second. This might be a little bit tough to get a reading. This looks pretty small. Yeah, I don't know if I'm getting in there. Let's go over to the circle, which is also pretty small. It looks too small. But boy, that is deep. I can see the depth of that. There, it's sunk down. I think that's the max the ball can go down. But you can see it sunk down, what, 5 more? 10? So that's deeper than 10 thousandths. I don't know if you can pick it up on this.